Beneath the shadows, in a secluded, eerie neighborhood, stood a desolate house, rumored to be haunted. Unbeknownst to the Miller family, who had recently moved in, the house held a dark secret within its shadowy confines. Hidden beneath the creaking floorboards, harbored an enigmatic figure. A stranger had been residing there for years, lurking in the darkness, concealed from prying eyes. The stranger lived within the basement's labyrinthine corridors, his footsteps echoing through the silence, unbeknownst to the unsuspecting Millers. As days turned into weeks, the Miller family began experiencing odd occurrences within their new home. Strange whispers echoed through the walls, objects inexplicably moved, and an unsettling aura permeated the air. Unease settled upon the family, but they couldn't fathom the source of their growing unease. One fateful night, Mrs. Miller ventured into the basement to get her clothes. Descending the rickety stairs, she froze in horror as her eyes met the stranger's chilling gaze. His twisted smile sent shivers down her spine, and she stumbled backward, trembling with fear. Wordlessly, Mrs. Miller rushed upstairs, her heart pounding in her chest, and frantically alerted her family. As disbelief turned to terror, the family huddled together, barricading themselves in a room, desperate to escape the clutches of the enigmatic figure below. Darkness enveloped the house, broken only by flickering candlelight. The Millers, trapped and vulnerable, waited in fearful anticipation for the stranger's next move. They could hear his stealthy footsteps drawing closer, his menacing presence closing in on their sanctuary. Mr. Miller, standing in front of his children, held the door while his family climbed out of the window. Mr. Miller grabbed a shelf and put it in front of the door. He had started towards the window when the stranger broke in. The stranger caught a glimpse of Mr. Miller escaping through the window around the room. Heartbeats echoed while the family sprinted to the police station, their breaths heavy with fear. With a final burst of adrenaline, they broke free from the sight of the stranger. Gasping for breath, the Miller family raced away from the haunted house, their hearts pounding in sync with their fleeing footsteps. They left behind the sinister presence of the stranger, vowing never to return to that malevolent abode. To this day, the Miller family still shudders at the memory of their encounter with the enigmatic figure in the basement. Their lives forever marked by that harrowing experience, they caution others to be wary of the secrets that lie hidden beneath the surface, for sometimes the most terrifying beings dwell just a few steps away from ordinary lives. The entity in the basement. In a quiet suburban neighborhood, a family moved into a spacious house with a large, foreboding basement. Almost immediately after settling in, they began experiencing inexplicable phenomena that centered around the basement. It started innocently enough, with subtle whispers echoing through the air whenever someone passed by the basement door. But as days turned into weeks, the encounters grew more disturbing. Strange shadows flickered along the basement walls, moving with an otherworldly fluidity. The temperature would plummet whenever someone ventured downstairs, causing an icy chill to settle in their bones. As the family descended further into the depths of the basement, they discovered unsettling signs of a malevolent presence. Dark, smudged handprints adorned the walls, seemingly made by an entity with inhumanly long fingers. Unnerving symbols were etched into the floor, giving off an aura of ancient occult practices. Nightmares plagued their sleep, filled with grotesque visions of a faceless figure lurking in the shadows of the basement. Sleep paralysis episodes became a nightly occurrence, with the sensation of a cold, phantom hand gripping their throats. Driven to the brink of terror, the family sought the help of paranormal experts, desperate to uncover the truth behind the haunting. During their investigation, they discovered that the house stood on a site with a tragic past. Decades ago, a deranged individual had used the basement as a lair, carrying out heinous acts of violence and leaving a trail of unspeakable horrors. It became apparent that the tormented spirits of the past had been awakened by the family's presence, seeking vengeance for the atrocities committed within the basement's walls. The entity, fueled by hatred and darkness, fed off the family's fear and despair, growing stronger with each passing day. In a last-ditch effort to rid themselves of the malevolent entity, the family enlisted the help of a seasoned exorcist. Together, they performed a harrowing ritual to banish the spirit back to the depths from which it came. The ceremony was met with furious resistance, as the entity fought to maintain its hold on the house. After a grueling battle between the forces of light and darkness, the family emerged victorious. The basement, once a den of unspeakable evil, was finally cleansed of its haunting presence. The family could finally breathe a sigh of relief, knowing they were free from the clutches of the malevolent entity. To this day, the basement remains a forbidden place in their home, a reminder of the terrifying ordeal they endured. It stands as a cautionary tale, warning others of the hidden darkness that can dwell within the confines of a seemingly ordinary basement, waiting to unleash its wrath upon unsuspecting souls. The haunting of 112 Maple Street. In a small town, 112 Maple Street stood as an old Victorian house with a dark history. The house had changed owners numerous times over the years, with each family experiencing strange and unexplained occurrences, particularly in the basement. One family, the Thompsons, moved into the house in the late 1990s. At first, they were thrilled with their new home, appreciating its vintage charm. However, they soon noticed peculiar happenings centered around the basement. It started with subtle noises, like footsteps echoing from below when no one was there. Objects would inexplicably move or vanish, only to reappear in odd places later. The family also reported feeling an oppressive presence whenever they descended into the basement. As time went on, the phenomena escalated. The family began to hear distinct voices whispering from the depths of the basement, calling out their names in hushed tones. They would wake up in the middle of the night, convinced they heard cries for help coming from below the house. The Thompsons sought the help of paranormal investigators and mediums, hoping to uncover the source of the haunting. During one investigation, they discovered that the house had a tragic past. In the early 1900s, a series of mysterious disappearances had plagued the neighborhood, and it was rumored that the basement of 112 Maple Street was somehow connected to these incidents. Further research revealed that the basement had been used by a deranged individual who had kidnapped and tortured victims, leaving behind a trail of unsolved mysteries. The lingering energy of these dark acts seemed to have imprinted itself in the house, manifesting as the hauntings experienced by the Thompsons. Unable to bear the chilling presence any longer, the Thompsons made the difficult decision to move out of the house. They left behind the basement and its dark secrets, hoping that the new occupants would find a way to bring peace to the haunted dwelling. To this day, the stories of 112 Maple Street continue to circulate in the town, cautioning potential buyers about the eerie and unexplained phenomena that emanate from the basement. The house stands as a chilling reminder of the lingering imprints left by tragic events and the unsettling mysteries that can lie hidden beneath the surface of seemingly ordinary homes.